Hi, welcome to the Little Teacup Library. Today I am drinking a cup of chai concentrate. It's something I make at home and I like it. I can make a big batch and it's good hot, it's good cold. I do feel like I'm missing something and I don't know what it is. I have cinnamon, it has cardamom, it has vanilla beans. I added cloves last time I made it and I feel like that helped, but I feel like there's a flavor that should be in this cup of tea that is not in this cup of tea. So if you guys have any ideas, if any of you know a lot about chai and know what spice I'm missing, please let me know. I had a really hard time deciding what book to talk about for this first video. This first video, it feels huge. And I think I put a lot of pressure on myself to choose the perfect book. I have so many books that are comfort reads that I can read again and again, that I come back to. And I wanted to pick one of those. I didn't know where to start, so I had to think on it for a few days, and I decided to talk about a book called Wildwood Dancing by Juliet Marillier. It's loosely based on the fairy tale, The 12 Dancing Princesses, and you can tell throughout the entire book it is just magical, that kind of fairy tale fantasy feel. So I want you to look at the cover. You can tell my copy is very well loved. I have read this book again and again because I enjoy it so much, but it is beautiful. This cover art is probably one of my favorite pieces of art that I've seen for any book that I've read. And I mean, immediately just looking at it, you can tell it's so detailed. And I love it because every time I look at this book, I can find characters that I didn't notice that were there before, or things that allude to scenes in the book that I hadn't caught before. So one of my favorite book covers. I think it's just beautiful. So this the back of the book says, 5 adventurous sisters, 4 dark creatures, 3 magical gifts, 2 forbidden lovers, 1 enchanted frog. Cross the threshold into the Wildwood and enter a land of magic, daring, betrayal, and true love. So this book is about 5 sisters who live in early 16th century Transylvania with their father in an old castle. And when they were young girls, they discovered that this castle held a special secret passageway that just on the night of the full moon, they were able to enter into the other kingdom, the magical realm that kind of parallels and coexists alongside theirs. But as they grow up, they start to realize that this other kingdom and the people, the creatures in it, as well as their own ordinary human realm and the people around them might not be as safe as they thought. I do have some notes that I need to follow because there was so much that I wanted to say about this book. I had to jot it down or I was going to miss things. So the main character in this book is Jenna and her best friend, a frog named Gogu. We also meet her 4 sisters, her father, some of the townspeople that they know well, a couple that lives with them in the castle kind of as caretakers, housekeepers. We also meet Jenna's aunt and uncle and cousins in this book, as well as a pretty big assortment of magical creatures from the other kingdom. And this author did such a phenomenal job of researching Transylvanian folklore and customs and culture. And when you think of Transylvania, what do you think of? You think of vampires. This book predates, kind of the Bram Stoker take of vampires, the setting that the book has. But it does talk about night people, which again, very closely ties into Transylvanian folklore. So in some ways, this is not a historical fiction book. I love historical fiction. This is not historical fiction, but in some ways it reads like it because it's so well researched. You feel like you're getting a glimpse into what 16th century Transylvanian life would have been like. She also includes a term, like a glossary, in the back of the book that talks about the different Romanian terms, tells you a little bit more information about them, as well as how to pronounce them, which I found very helpful because I got to the end of the book with my first read and realized, oh, I've been saying all of these things wrong. So it was nice to know how to give them the actual pronunciation. This book, it's just a magical book. It just exudes magic. It's about love and courage and sacrifice, both in the other kingdom as well as the human realm. And I feel like when I read it, so quickly I'm just transported to this other world. The descriptions and the writing are beautiful. I love the writing style. It's very easy to follow. It's very crystal clear, and it's just very, very beautifully descriptive. The characters feel so real. They're all distinct. You can tell that their motivations and their priorities are all very different. Some are immediately likable. Some you walk away feeling some pretty complex feelings about, and I love an author that can do that for, you know, the good guys and the bad guys in the book, where you're not quite sure what side they fall in. Maybe it's gray, maybe they're not as right and wrong as you thought, and she really does do a deep dive into that with this book, and I really, really liked that. It is a huge comfort read for me. I have read it, I don't know how many times, but I can read it again and again and again because it is just so well done. It is part of a series. There's a second book which I own. I also liked the second book. It takes you to a different place geographically, but Wildwood Dancing is by far my favorite one out of that series. So I would highly encourage, if you need a little break from reality, if you need something to escape in, pick this book up. It is written for young adults. I could read it again and again as an adult because of how it's written and because of the way the story unfolds. It is just phenomenal. So again, Wildwood Dancing by Juliet Marillier, absolutely worth the read. And it is, again, based on a fairy tale, so I wanted to hear what some of your favorite fairy tales are. And if you have any other book recommendations, I adore books that are based on fairy tales but have a completely different spin from the original, you know, Grimm's Brothers version. So if you have read anything like that that you really enjoyed, let me know. I would love to add it to my very, very long to-be-read list. Anyway, thank you for coming to the Little Teacup Library. I hope you enjoyed my very first video talking about books, and I'm excited to post about the next one.